this is something that I think you and I have talked about offline before. So the Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony was this weekend.
It's a great speeches. Zach Thomas, awesome. Joe Thomas,
So Zach Thomas goes in. Rondé Barber goes in. Joe Thomas goes in.
DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware goes in. So Deion Sanders.
Klecko from the Jets from the 80s. Klecko.
Deion Sanders said this a couple of years. He's been saying it a lot, actually. But he said it a couple of years ago, and he was basically saying, like, because of the format, you have to let people in. He said it's really not that. It's not as special as it should be because they're letting dudes in instead of like the elite.
Correct.
And I'm not a Hall of Fame player, but I have played amongst guys like that, and I know in my generation, like I remember very specifically, Larry Allen was a game-changing football player.
Yes.
Larry, at the guard position, Larry Allen was so much better than everybody else in his prime that he was undoubtedly a Hall of Fame player.
He was scary.
Steve Hutchinson was a very, very good player. Like Steve Hutchinson was an elite level player. He's not Larry Allen.
No.
But he's
he's good. He's good.
He was so good. He was a first-round pick. Yep. He was All-American in high school, All-American at Michigan. First round draft pick, all pro or whatever since day one. So I go, okay, he's a Hall of Famer. But then there's other guys that get in, you go, like, I think Alan Faneca had a really good career. For me as a guard, I don't know. Like, did you say is he that much better for that much? I don't know. Joe Thomas was so good on a terrible team.
Yeah.
But he has that run of consecutive starts and plays and all. Like it's an interesting Rondé Barber. Rondé Barber had a great career, but now we're starting to look at like, okay, like who are the guys on the Tampa Bay defense? And again, this is no disrespect to anybody who's making it, right? It's just an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
but you start going like Warren Sapp's there, check. Warren Sapp's different.
Yeah.
Derek Brooks is there, check. He's different. Then you go like John Lynch is there. John Lynch is a really good football player.
He was a good football player.
Okay. Then Rondé Barber was there. Rondé Barber was a really good football player.
Yeah.
But it's just it's interesting, right? It's not that I don't know what the criteria. I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
But I know Deion. Like the Deion thing always pops up, and I
go,
okay,
it makes sense.
Yeah, you get it because Deion's like best there ever was, right? So
yeah, and I think it boils down to. I think part of the problem is the networks. So when I say the networks, I mean all the commentators that have shows. We got Greeny with the Get Up. We got Stephen A. From football to basketball to baseball. Shoot, we got Women's World Cup, all that going on. What do they always say after the team wins a championship? Oh, so-and-so's a GOAT. So-and-so's a GOAT. So-and-so's the greatest of all. I'm like, that drives me nuts. And I think it drives you nuts too. I think that's part of the problem because soon as say Golden State a couple years ago, they lose it this year, is Stephen Curry the greatest of all time? I'm like, why are we having this conversation? Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, Pat Mahomes second one, Andy Reid second one. Pat Mahomes greatest. It's like y'all setting this up to have this problem right now because like Deion, I agree with Deion because it's already a privilege in the NFL to be in the NFL, to get drafted. We already know it is a privilege to be there no matter which round you get drafted in. But then after a career, no matter how long it is, but then if you're that player in that range that we talk about for guys, and you mentioned yourself, players that you like and you see like, yes, no, not even a thought they should be in there. And it goes to when I was a kid growing up, I think of between guys like Walter Payton, Joe Montana, Lawrence Taylor, those type of guys where they changed the game. And then when you brought their name up in a conversation, you'd be like, oh, or the person you talking to, you'd be like, yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, that's a very good exact. So those type of players, and so it's a whole bunch of little different things going on. The media, we already know they narrate a lot of stuff in all the sports out there, and so they like to put up the people and I say
Oh, sure.
project who they
Well,
feel, you know,
even
instead of
even
going
like
off the
even
stats.
all pro and all and
Yes.
Pro Bowl, like all that has to
Yes.
do. I mean, even if listen, even the way they vote, when you talk about like the fans and the media have 2/3 of the vote, well, it's like the media influences the fans.
Yes.
The whole thing's crazy. I love the NFL's 100 list that the players do.
Yep, I do like
And I
that.
know that there's some times that you go like Aaron Donald's still the top 3 player in the league, and he didn't make top 3 this year. But it's like you kind of get what people like giving props to a guy who did that. Like I think we can all live with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many players vote in this Hall of Fame deal, and it's super interesting. Again, not to throw out shade on anybody, because all these guys have better careers than I did. But all I'm saying is, I think if you ask players about certain guys, they either go like, "Oh, we game plan for him, like he was a game plan guy," or he wasn't. And honestly, if you weren't a game plan guy, like if you weren't a game plan guy in defense,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You're not a Hall of Famer. If you're not a game plan guy on offense, you're not a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'll never forget, like here's when I knew that I was not like when I got to year 5, 6, 7, I thought it was really I thought it was elite. Like I thought it was really, really good. I was playing high level.
Yeah, I thought you did.
And I got over. I leave Green Bay and I finally get fan votes. Mm-hmm. So I go over to Hawaii. And I was playing right guard because Larry Allen was playing left guard. And Larry Allen's kind of over the hill at this point, but he's still Larry Allen.
He's still there.
Right? And so he's taking spots from guys that are playing well. But and at the time, I'm like, dude, he's not playing that well. But we got down in our stances, and Sean Rogers, the Detroit Lions defensive tackle, said, "All right, now, Larry, don't you hurt me." And they all started like, "Yeah, man, like you take it easy on us." And I was like, I didn't get it until then. I was like, "Oh, now I get it." Everyone's still scared of him.
Correct.
Like nobody's like people think I'm good. They're scared of Larry Allen. There's a huge difference there. Guys might think I'll pick him off a pile, or I might drive him. They're scared that Larry Allen is going to put a hole in their chest and affect their ability to reproduce or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's when that's why I was like, I remember I went home, and I went to the room, and I just said to Trina, I just go, hey, take a good look around here because we're lucky to be. I used to think I belonged here. Now I'm not so sure. Like that.
No, you belong there.
People there are scared of that dude, though, and that's what a Hall of Famer is to me.
There is definitely a select few of defenders, offensive linemen, D linemen that they will probably put the fear in people's walking down the street. You know. But no, you was one of those guys to me, bro. You definitely was one of those
I wasn't
guys.
fishing for a compliment. I will take it. But my point, you understand my point.
Yeah, I understand your point.
John Randall, we're like, oh my God. John Randall, they literally called John Randall before I got to Green Bay. I remember the first year, they're like, oh, we're throwing a hot off the 3 technique this week. And like they were like making the joke in the offensive lineman. And I'm like, that's not a funny joke. And they're like, no, just did you watch last year's game against Minnesota? In Minnesota, it's like he was literally Brett was like 1, 2, 3, throw because he was getting tackled every play. It's just there's some guys not.
Yes, it's guys that are problems. I remember growing up as a kid, you watch game film of Ronnie Lott hit dudes, from interceptions to then hitting guys over the middle. And then when I was a kid, I think it was when I was a kid, he cut his finger off to play in a game. I said, yeah. That's that dude.
Remember Ronnie Lott had those like wrestling like elbow pads that he
wore? He had the big ones. Yeah,
dude.
Yes.
That guy's one of the biggest savages ever.
Savage. You cut a finger off. They said you're gonna miss a game, a playoff game. It was a playoff game too. And
he was if he cut the story is I think he broke this.
He broke it right at the knuckle
on his hand. Yeah. So he just said it's at the top one. He goes.
Yeah.
He said.
Right here.
They said if you knock it off, you're not playing in the playoffs of the Super Bowl. And they're like, or no, excuse me.
You said if you do surgery. If you
do surgery, you rehab. He goes, well, what happens if I just cut it off? Like, oh, you'll be ready in 7 weeks or whatever. Like, bet.
Cut it. I was like, that's my dude. That's why I like the 49ers. Guys like that.